Check one, two. All right. We're here. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, listen, I just had this little thing drop into my spirit. I just wanted to I wanted to say something here really quick. Give me just a fast second. There we go. So I had something that dropped into my spirit just on the way here, or not the way here. I was just sitting over my chair, and I felt this to ask this question or give this statement rather. Give a statement. Watch your P's and Q's. Watch your P's and Q's. And I the inspiration behind all this was over the years when I'm pastoring to people, and I pick up on the cues, and so I watch and I see where people's attention go, and then after, hang on a second, let me make sure we're good here. Okay, we're good. I'll pay attention to people's attention. I pay attention to people's attention. So I'm always watching to see when somebody is observing me for a cue. And they may or may not even know that they're doing it. Matter of fact, I think a lot of times we don't even realize that we're doing it or that we've done it. But to people who are unsure about a next phase, or they're unsure about a decision, or they're unsure about an environment, they will be watching for cues. They'll be watching, kind of, am I okay to be here? Is it okay for me to be comfortable? And as a leader, for instance, my children, there are times where my children may see a situation and they get nervous. For instance, let's say there's times where we're driving through big city traffic and my wife will look over at me and she's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I look at her and I'm like, "I love this stuff." Because I do. I love driving, in those situations. When I go into big cities and stuff, I turn into a little Mario Andretti. But I'm aggressive because I know that if I sit back, you could get yourself, pushed around. Well, I won't be pushed around on the road. When I'm in the city like that, I'm very comfortable. Even though I'm not in a big city, I don't have a problem driving in big city traffic. Well, my wife will look at me and she's picking up on my cues as to, should I be nervous? Which most of the time she still is. But for the most part, she can be calmed when she sees I'm okay. When she looks at me and sees a confident cue come from me, she sees a confident, omission, coming from me. I'm omitting confidence. I'm not scared. I'm not nervous like her. It does bring her some peace. My children, there's times we'll be going down the road and real heavy wind, heavy, strong rains. We're in a thunderstorm. We travel a lot. So this is where I'm able to draw from. But they'll be nervous. I've seen it many times where my kids they'll be nervous, but they'll look at dad and they'll see I'm okay. When they see that I'm okay, they rest. They can even go to sleep and be so comfortable because they seen that their father was not putting off an "I'm scared, let's get scared" cue, but instead they were positive. Now let me translate this over to where I think it's going to hit. In the for the church world, I was observing, and I observe folks all the time, but I was observing this young man, and this young man, there was a moment where there was a raise in the service. There was a bit of a crescendo was happening in one of the services, and the anointing was, it was sending out waves of invitation. I believe that there's waves of invitation for people, and to me, I feel like worship service is a lot like a shoreline, that the waves will come deep into the congregation, and then it pulls those in, and then it goes out, and then it comes back in, and you'll see these waves will hit people and it'll draw them to the altar, and it'll hit waves will come out and it'll draw them into the altar. I've seen waves go out, and this particular young man, I could tell he looked over to the side and he kind of had this this kind of a lighthearted, even though he was good, but you could still tell he was like, "What are we going to do here? What are we, like, our little group, that's sitting here, 3, 4 chairs, 2, 4, whatever. There's about maybe 5, 6 of them that was there. And basically his mindset was kind of, I could tell in this moment, he was looking for a cue. He could have backed away. Had his neighbor backed away, he probably would have backed away too. But you could tell the wave came out, and he got hit with it. And when he got hit with the wave, he looked at his neighbor and wanted to see, are we good here? He looked for their cues. So during praise, during that time of positioning and posturing, watch your posturing and your cues, your P's and Q's. Watch how are you postured in the spirit? Are you being bold? Are you nervous? Are you unashamed? Do you need a breakthrough where you could just, pour it out? Whatever the case may be. Don't be afraid to respond when you feel the Spirit moving, because I saw that young man look over at this person, and when he looked over at them, he caught them with their hands up in the air, worshiping God. And you know what he did? He just, in that moment, immediately locked into and started worshiping and praising. He could have been led to a joking mindset, or he could have been led to a praising mindset. In that moment, because there was somebody not ashamed or afraid and had their P's and Q's in the right place, they came with the right intentions. They came with the right priorities. There you go. That's another P. Watch your priorities and your Q. Keep your You're in the house of God to worship God. We'll fellowship whenever the amen is said and we get to go to our cars. But when we are in the service, it's time to worship God. When the service starts, it's not time for me to finish my conversation. When the service starts, whenever we begin worshiping, we're in a whole other place now. It's time to shift, get into the right P posture, get into the right P positioning, and make sure that it is a P priority. When you got those three P's together, you are set to be a blessing to somebody who is looking for a cue for breakthrough. They are looking for a cue from somebody that what they're doing is they're fishing for agreement. They're fishing for agreement. They are fishing for somebody to come into agreement with them, even if it's not laying hands on them, even if it's not grabbing their hand and running to an altar. They're looking for somebody who is there for the same reason they're there. But sadly, in the church today, there's a lot of people, when they look around the church, even from seasoned Christians, they catch somebody not engaging. They catch somebody with their priorities out of whack. They catch somebody who's not into it, somebody who's not there with the right posture, who's not there with the right frame. They're not there with the right strategy. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who have not allowed that wave to pull them in to the deeper things of God. They've not allowed that. They've not been allowed that depth because they were immature, looking for someone with a mind of agreement, somebody with eyes of agreement. Watch your P's and your Q's. When you come into the house of God, make it your priority to worship Him. I'm not saying that you have to stand the whole time. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying there is, when you come with the priority for praise, priority to worship, priority to be in agreement with those who are there. I've come to the house of God to come into agreement for your breakthrough. I've come into the house of God to come into agreement for your maturing, for your level up. So watch your P's and your Q's, your posture, watch your position, watch your priority. Make sure those three P's are in the right space, that I am postured and I am in position and I am prioritizing praise and worship, revelation and receiving. And when I do that, I will put off a cue that will be able to minister to someone to say, hey, listen, brother, listen, sister, I'm here to be in agreement with you. I'm here to be in agreement. I'm not here to take your attention away from the things of God. Young people, hear me today. Get your P's and Q's. If you are a born-again child of God, young person, if you're at the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and on up, 18, 21, 26, I don't care how old when you come into the house of God, why don't you and your friend group turn into praisers? Why don't you come in there with the right priority? Because you may have somebody in your circle that needs you to agree with them for more than just a Fortnite tag. You might need somebody to agree with you for more than just I don't know, that VR thing, whatever, the Oculus tag. They may want to discuss something deeper, but they're afraid to because you've never put a cue of agreement out. This goes for every single phase and stage of life. Put out a cue of agreement. I'm putting off a signal that says, I'm here to come into agreement with you. I know that we have a good time leading up to the service, and we've got a good time afterward. We've got community that we build. But why don't we come into agreement that I will omit and put off a cue of agreement? I want to be postured, positioned, and prioritized in the right way to omit a cue of agreement. I'm here to come into agreement. So if you stare at me, know this, I'm here to worship. If you look at me, I want you to catch me worshiping. If you're looking for a reason to stay on the shore and the waves have hit your feet, maybe they're rising up to your knees and you're looking around saying, I'm ready to let go. I want you to look at me and say, I'm going with that guy. He's in agreement. He's worshiping the Lord. And they'll look around to find somebody. Put off a cue of agreement. Come into agreement. You'd be amazed at what your right priorities, your posture, position, priorities, your 3 P's in the right order. You put those things in the right place, you would be amazed at what kind of a positive influence that you could make on your circle and strangers. Get yourself into the right position. Get yourself into the right mindset. God needs to use you this week and this weekend. Maybe this Wednesday. Maybe there's going to be a young person this Wednesday and Wednesday at your midweek somewhere. Whatever it might be postured, positioned. Make sure that you're prioritized. Get those things together. I've come to the house of God to be a cue of agreement. I'm going to take my cues from somebody who's in agreement for breakthrough for my life. I want to be someone who could be trusted to be a cue for your breakthrough. If you're looking for somebody to come into agreement, look my way, because you're going to find me praising. I've got my priorities together. I've come to worship God. I've not come to sit like a bump on a log or a bump on a pickle. I am not a part of the church of the chosen frozen. I've been redeemed. I'm a praiser. I am active. I am moving. I may not be able to stand up the whole time. I may be sitting, but I'm not going to stop waving if I got arms, I'm going to be able to wave my arm. I'm going to sway. I'm going to let you know. If you look by me, listen, my legs may be a little bit tired, but you can look at me and I'm going to be swaying and praising and unashamed to give God the glory, because he is worthy of it. God bless you today. Watch your peace.